Podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. Go to patreon.com/PETM. Join the What You Drinking Club for as little as $1 a month and get your free koozie. Best part is every cent in 2017 is donated to sponsoring drivers, so join the PETM posse today. Be part of the sport you love. And this week's show is brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up a month level. It's Catherine Kingston, Ashley Stang, Jeffrey Whitler, Lori Sutton, Tony Salt, Colby McClam, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Marianne Levesque, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Mick Rose, Steve Jr. the Third. Let's do this! Welcome, y'all! Woo! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 92 for Tuesday, March 28th, 2017. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm joining the PTM Podcast Studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
I'm very happy to have our most, I think it's the co-host that we've had that people are the most excited about hearing him talk. He shares the most with us?
Yes.
So,
four-time champion of the PETM podcast.
PETM champion.
Mr. Tommy Joe Martin's returning with us. What's up, Tommy Joe?
Oh, good to hear with you guys. Yeah, awesome. We were talking about this just a minute ago. When I hear you guys called out, this is the 92nd episode. Well, that just makes me think, I kind of got to be on the 100th episode now, right?
Oh, man. We're talking 8 weeks from now?
Recorded guest. I mean, we kind of have to line this up. I mean, that's like a few months from now, but I kind of have to be on that one, right?
What a guy.
No problem.
Yeah, I think we've...
Let's go ahead and book it.
Yeah, we got the calendar starting to fill out.
Because, I mean, right now, I'm like, I would be on 5% of all the shows.
Oh, wow.
So that would be pretty good.
That's actually
that's
great
pretty heavy.
stat.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, that's a great
I'm not big
stat.
at math, but I know that 5 out of 100, that's 5.
Well, and we don't even count like the first 30 because that was when we didn't know what we were doing.
Some of those weren't even. Yeah, those are in La La Land.
A second ago, you guys have like a theme song and like a whole intro.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
I've been with you guys for a little while. This thing is growing. It's kind of cool, actually.
I know. It kind of gives you a tear, doesn't it? You're like, these are my guys, right?
Sydney Lett, she's a rock star.
Yeah, right? Pretty nice.
Well, Tommy, you know how we always start this thing. Now, I know you're driving down the road, so you don't have to answer truthfully if that's the case. But, Tommy, what you drinking today?
No, I am drinking water, guys. I know. This is a bummer. I've been on your pod. I've been on the pod 4 times. Now, this is the 4th one. I've had a beer every time I've talked to you guys, or multiple beers, admittedly. This time it's just water. This is how dumb I am. Just a little side story here. I gave up beer for Lent. Never given up anything for Lent before, ever in my life. And I love beer. I mean, I really do.
Oh, yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to make it hard, and I'm realizing that it is hard. That is a hard thing that I did. And I'm trying to hold on. So far, I've been good. I got to make it through Easter. And that is going to be a sweet, sweet day when I can drink a beer again. Right now, I'm making it so far. I haven't broken it yet. So I'm holding off. I'm just drinking water out of a Swell bottle right now is what I got.
Well,
so
for 40 days with no beer, I imagine you crack open like a 16-ounce Miller Lite, and then you'd be bouncing off the walls.
Right, drunk.
Oh, man, I know. This is going to be a sweet day when that day comes.
Well, Sherwin, you are locked and loaded there.
Locked and loaded.
What are we drinking?
Oh, we're drinking. This is so much fun. Twisted tea. They sell these 24-ounce things at the gas station, and
you can't get one, right?
Last year it was a Richard Petty sponsorship. This year it's JTG Doherty or not JTG Doherty, but Geico Racing.
Oh, Ty.
Yeah. So it's Ty Dillon, and that's cool. These are fun to drink, and it's just they don't really get in the way. There's no carbonation.
Oh yeah, you don't feel full.
Like they if I did that, I thought about this because I thought about getting one of those. Like it's just cheating because it literally says brewed. It says brewed like a beer. That's like part of the thing.
So you're trying to figure out
it's technically a tea, but it says brew. So I don't know. Like if I got a cider, like is that cheating? Because it's coming out of a can. It's kind of like a beer, but I don't know if that's. So I'm feeling pretty safe. I'm stuck to liquor and wine, which I'm not real happy about.
I love it.
So 2 things. That's funny. So 1, definitely Germain Racing. Sorry to miss their missed their call there with the sponsor. And 2, all beers start flat. You have to do funny special things to get them carbonated.
Yeah,
so
you have to carbonate.
That's one less step for Twisted Tea.
So, and I'm digging the fact that you're like, well, I'm giving up beer, but hard liquors, I mean, fair game. That's kosher.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, there's got to be a skirt around here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop drinking. What do you think I am?
Come on, man.
I'm not a quitter. Sherwin,
not Baptist.
It's episode number 92, and we got to talk about the 92 car, Mr. Herb Thomas.
I heard about him.
Holy mackerel. 200 races in the 92 out of his total of 228 races throughout the 50s. This is another guy who has stats that can't be true. You know?
Like facts that can't be a fact?
Right. He has 2 championships. He was NASCAR's first 2-time champion. So he was Jimmy Johnson before Jimmy Johnson was Jimmy Johnson. You know?
Whoa. You mean like back-to-back or?
Not back-to-back, but
2-time overall?
2-time. I think it was 51 and 53, something like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so way before Richard Petty was like rattling them off.
Right. 48 wins total, speaking of Jimmy Johnson. 48 there. But 42... speaking of Kyle Larson coming up soon.
Subliminal.
42 of those wins was in the 92. So 200 races in the 92 and 42 of those were wins. He won 21.05% of the races that he ever joined in NASCAR. It's the highest percentage of any 100 and over starts for a driver.
That's pretty neat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty high percentage there. That's pretty good batting average.
And the stats don't stop there. 12th all time in wins with those 48 wins. In the 92, he had 111 top 5s. Top 5 more than half the time. And top 10, 141 times. NASCAR Hall of Famer, inducted in 2013. He raced the fabulous Hudson Hornet, is what they called that car.
Woo!
And that wasn't the name of his car. That was the name of like that car.
No, that was the manufacturer.
Yeah. And so guess who also drove that car? Last week's driver, Tim Flock. So how about full circle on last week and everything?
Spin it all the way around and tie them together.
I'll tell you what. So unfortunately, we lost Herb Thomas back in 2009. So today we're going to hoist these Twisted Teas. Mr. Tommy's going to hoist that water driving down the road. And cheers to Mr. Herb Thompson.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Herb Thomas.
That's one of the great ones right there, guys.
Yeah. Did you know about Herb before then? Any of those stats sound familiar?
I knew about the Hudson Hornet. The stats, John, that surprised me. I mean, I knew the guy had won a lot of races. I knew he was way up there on the list, but those are some remarkable stats. But obviously a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that. Right.
Well, Tommy, tell us what you're up to right now. I mean, I know you're driving around, but what's the season got for you?
Well, our season's kind of whatever. It's been a little disjointed, to be honest. Well, for me anyway, in the driver's seat. But for Martin's Motorsports, it started off well. Great partnership we've got with Brandon Brown and Brandon Built Motorsports. How they've started to kind of transition away from being a full-time team and partnering up with us, and that's worked well. And Brandon's really great. Jerry Brown, his dad, they're both great people. And they're easy to work with. This decision to go to Martinsville was pretty easy one for everybody involved. So they wanted to go there. They're focusing their efforts on this, and we're kind of it's going to give us a long break to kind of decide how we're going to attack the next part of the year, which there's a lot of decisions to still be made with that. Just buying us time. Brand's a good driver. He's going to have a chance to go up there and get a good finish. I think we're going to bring a good car.
Awesome. Well, it's time to tear it down, Sherwin. So already, yeah. Let's start by tearing it down here. So we went to California out there. We've already talked about the 42. Kyle Larson sweeping
to Hollywood,
sweeping the thing. I tell you what, I think last episode we were trying to do our picks, and it was like, well, I can't just keep picking Kyle Larson because you're gonna he's gonna hit it at some point, and you just sound like the guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, how about that Kyle Larson again? He's a pretty good driver, right? So
yeah.
You got to try to do something, and then of course he runs off and wins. Tommy, how about that domination weekend by Kyle Larson?
Well, Ganassi is really on it right now. I mean, that's what it's easy to pick Kyle. Kyle is killing it. Kyle's obviously doing just a remarkable job driving those things. But I think that's the other story here. That's the subplot, is that Ganassi has looked really, really good at mile and a half. McMurray has been running really well as well. That kind of falls beneath the cracks here because Kyle has been so awesome. But Jamie Mack is running really well in that one car. Their mile-and-a-half stuff this year is on par with anybody in the field. And that's saying a lot because, you know, you got Hendrick and Gibbs who have been Penske has been so dominant those mile-and-a-half tracks now. The fact that Ganassi has stepped up their mile-and-a-half program, and you saw that, I say mile-and-a-half, so California's obviously a 2-mile speedway, but that, you know, those intermediate tracks, that's the largest part of the NASCAR schedule. And so when you're dominant like that early on in the season, oh boy, they're off to a real roaring start, and I don't see that cooling off anytime soon. They've clearly hit on something with this low downforce package, and I think they're going to have a solid advantage. They're going to be a contender all year.
I think it's really cool that team has, as Tommy just said, has hit on these things that these other mega teams have not quite found yet. Looking at Hendrick, obviously, as I'm sitting here wearing a Casey Kane hat, and I mean Gibbs is doing their Gibbs thing. SHR, obviously, I think they're among the tops there as well.
Yeah, I think,
yes.
I can't resist the urge right now to troll a little bit using the podcast. So Kyle Larson swept the weekend, and absolutely no one lost their mind. So I think we can pretty well place it in the folder that it's only when Kyle Busch sweeps a weekend that people get super pissed.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of backlash from that one. You know, one of the things that did have a lot of
Well,
questions.
you're talking about a guy that's done it a lot. All right, let's hold up a minute on that. I mean,
So it was a little
I
new.
still have an objection.
Maybe it's an
Here's what I
unfair
know.
comparison.
Kyle Larson doesn't need the practice.
Yeah, maybe it's an
Kyle
unfair
Larson does not
comparison.
need practice. Kyle Larson is awesome. He is an elite Cup Series driver. He doesn't need that. Ganassi didn't need the practice. They've obviously got a pretty good program. They don't need that. But you're right. I mean, from a stigma standpoint, Kyle has been the one, or Kyle Busch, that is, has been the one that's kind of put that flag in the ground and got popular for stinking up the show the entire weekend. And so I think he's the one that's always going to garner the most amount of hate on that. But that doesn't change the fact that it's probably still not right. but that's all right.
Oh, I know. I was really just goofing off there more than anything.
You know,
No, you guys are right.
a question just came across Periscope, and we'll see if you're have to bite your tongue or what you have to say about it. And I'm sorry to the Periscope folks, I missed your name there, but honest opinion on the Austin Dillon situation a couple weeks ago with the whole we'll call it car retaliation issue.
I don't think it's a good look for a guy that's been in the Cup Series for a few years to retaliate during an Xfinity Series race under caution. That's all I'm saying. I just don't think that's a good look. And I'm sure Austin would probably say the same thing. I get he's frustrated in the moment. I mean, we're competitive. We're race car drivers. We get up on the wheel. We get upset. But I just think that's a real bad look. I mean, you're tearing up a guy you're hurt. Whatever. You didn't tear him up that bad, but still. I mean, the point is you swerved out and hit his car under caution, damaged the car under caution. A guy that's running for points, and you're just down in the series running to run. Well, you know what, dude? You got tore up. That stinks.
Yep.
But you're not even down there running for points. Like, this isn't even your main thing. You know, I mean, I get pretty upset when I get tore up. I think we all can agree on that, when I've been torn up enough. But that is me out there running full-time in the series, and so that's a big deal, for our team. That's all we're doing. For Austin, this is like a secondary thing, but for Cole Custer, this is his whole season. I just don't think that's a great deal. I wish NASCAR had done more than they did. A slap on the wrist to me was not good enough in that situation. I thought that was penalty worthy, even if it was just a large fine and no points penalties. I don't think that's a good precedent to set.
That's a good point, and you brought something up early on with what you're just saying that I thought was another good point, which is that Austin himself, if you ask him, he's probably going to say that same thing because, I mean, obviously it's been analyzed quite a bit over the last, week and a half, 2 weeks, or I guess week and a little bit since we're kind of behind on that one. But, all very valiant points there.
Well, if we're talking about, a Cup veteran that's dealing with a rookie in Xfinity, so if we want to eliminate as much controversy as possible from Cup guys being in Xfinity to begin with, wouldn't that conversation much better served to be had in the lot?
Oh, that's you got Tommy laughing on that.
Or just don't be there, or just don't race in Xfinity since you're in the Cup Series.
Yeah,
and you have a full-time sponsor and everything there.
Yep.
But whatever. That's c'est la vie. I've almost given up.
Well,
trying to fight that fight.
You're not. I mean, I think I understand at this point that position, especially from a race car driver. But I guess where I stand at on this personally with Austin Dillon and Cole Custer is, you know what, this kid's trying to learn and he screwed up. It's like, why wouldn't you just go to the hauler and say, this is why this happened. Mm-hmm. Like, I can tell you why this happened. How about let's not have it happen again.
Yeah. Well, let's move.
And I think Austin, real quick here, guys. Austin's impression of this is he got dumped, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's not realistically what happened. That's really not. It was somebody doing something. It was a mistake, is all it was. And I've raced with Cole. You know, Cole's obviously been in a lot better equipment than I had been in. But you know, we actually had the chance to race a few times this year in pretty competitive situations. Cole's a good, clean racer. He's not racing dirty. That's not him.
Yeah,
that's not him at all. I mean, you could know that just talking to him. He's not that type of kid or that type of driver. And so Cole got in there a little hot. The car got loose. He chased it up the track. He was trying everything he could do to stay off of Austin. And so to me, that's a racing incident where, you get frustrated, but you don't go try to stuff a guy under caution. You stuff a guy under caution if you think you did it on purpose.
Mm.
You know, if you think, man, okay, this guy's racing me dirty, and he just wrecked me on purpose, or to get back at me for something, or he had been threatening me with it a few times earlier in the race. Well, now, I get it.
Yeah.
But a deal like that where they've never even touched fenders all day, and now an accident happens, I don't know. To me, that was just kind of an overreaction.
Overreaction. Yep.
Overreaction.
That's the word.
Yep.
So
as a guy that has overreacted,
that's all good.
Has overreacted. I can say that was an overreaction.
Well, some along the controversial, well, maybe not controversial, but looping it back to California, people asking Sherwin, was that a good race? Did we have a good race at California, or we had sort of a domination there? My opinion is almost what the next note that you wrote about late race cautions breeding cautions and stuff. Every time they restart in California, and they're going down in turn 1 and then turn 2 and into turn 3 and stuff, and they are 5 wide, 5 lanes. I mean, every caution or every restart, it's like I'm sitting there at the stadium. I'm standing up and I'm getting close to my TV and I'm pointing at stuff going on, like by myself, pointing at my TV, going, "Come on, do this!"
Yeah, WTF!
Yeah. So it's insane. For that reason, I thought it was a good race. I watched it wire to wire, and I was entertained the whole time.
Same. That bottom line.
Yeah, I think it's a good race. I think the Cup Series has put on some good races this year.
Mm-hmm. And
I was a little disappointed when I saw Jennifer Fryer had an article out that said that the NASCAR ratings were down in the Cup Series, despite the general overall feeling that NASCAR is doing pretty well right now in the industry. You know, you got celebrities out at the track, you got good response on social media, you got young guys winning, different winners every week, a lot of parity, good racing side by side, a little bit of drama with the Logano-Busch thing, and like it feels like we're off to a pretty good start, but yet the ratings were down. And so there was kind of a question there as to, okay, well, what's going on with this? I don't know. I guess I'm just one of those, me, I've been very vocal about being a little worried. I'm not really that worried. I feel like we're doing pretty good right now. I think everything's all right.
I think you're exactly right.
As far as racing and everything. I think I just love watching NASCAR. So I'm probably not the guy to ask, was it a good race? Because I'm always going to go, well, yeah, I think it was a pretty good race. Because I can always find something to watch in there that is going to entertain me.
Right.
I just think if you like racing, if you like NASCAR racing, you should like watching NASCAR races. You shouldn't nitpick it to complete death.
Sure. And I think, you said it perfect. Me and Sherwin both just sort of threw up our arms and went, yeah, that's it, exactly. That I'm not worried right now. If we're putting on the best product that we can, which I feel like we're really getting close to that, and it's really working out well right now. We had our downturn, and it's going to take a little while to turn it back up. If we just keep putting out the level of racing and the level of entertainment that I think we're seeing week over week, that's going to come back. It can't come back in 1 week. It can't come back on Daytona 500 suddenly, or especially a race at California. Maybe not a lot of people know enough about that race. Maybe us sitting here talking about it maybe gets a couple more people thinking about watching it next time. or their buddies going, come here, this was 5 wide last time. This is unbelievable. I think it takes a little while.
Well, I think we're right sizing, in all honesty.
Uh-huh.
I think we may be – some folks may be reaching to a place that NASCAR doesn't have roots at all right now. And maybe they did for a minute. Maybe their branches overlaid some of those people, but they don't now.
Or we have to replant those roots too, you know?
Or fertilize or whatever it is we need to do. But
yep.
I think Tommy's right. I think we're seeing good action on the track. We're seeing good races.
Yep.
And I think if we over-scrutinize what's happening, then we can shift the mean of the bell curve to a place that's mostly negative. And I don't think we need to do that. I don't. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like we need to do that.
You know how critical I've been here, guys, with NASCAR marketing and everything. I think they are doing a bang-up job this year. Everything I've seen, it seems like there is a dramatic shift in tone of some of the stuff they're doing. And man, our sport is looking really great from the top down right now, which maybe that's an issue in and of itself. But from the top down up there, you got some really young, great, talented stars like Chase and Kyle Larson and
Blaney.
I could go down the list. Whatever, Daniel Suarez. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of his for other reasons, but you got a lot of really great young talent up there in the Cup Series that's going to be around for a long time. But you also have some veterans with tremendous presence, like Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's not that guy trying to get 7. He got it. He already got it.
Yep.
Like he is, whatever. He's probably maybe the greatest of all time. Maybe the greatest of all time. I mean, I'm a Richard Petty guy, but still. Yeah, holy cow. I mean, he's right now. That's it. We're watching it right now. He's racing. He's racing next week. And we're living that, and we don't take a step back a little bit and just go, man, there's some really great dudes out here still racing right now. Everybody was so upset about Gordon and Stewart and what was going on with them stepping away. Oh, man, two heroes, 2 icons there. Well, yeah, but look at what we got. We still got a lot going on. And the next generation's here. They're not coming, Blaney. Like, Ryan Blaney is not like, oh, well, he's going to be – no, dude, he's great right now.
Yeah.
He's in the top 10 every week.
Yep.
Like, what are we looking for? For him to get a win to validate it? Yeah, I get that to an extent, but they're here now. It's not they're growing, not they're going to be good. They're good right this second. They're in cars that can win every week right now. And that's exciting to see new winners and new faces and new personalities. And it's really cool. And all these young guys are really embracing their roles as kind of the next generation. And I'm seeing things that are a little different in the tone of all this, like Ryan Blaney engaging in social media and doing podcasts and Snapchat and Instagram stuff, and just all the kind of smaller things that you don't really notice when you're just watching on Sunday. But just from a marketing standpoint, how many views and people we're reaching that are maybe a little bit out of our demo, a little bit out of our demographic, I think we're doing just an awesome job right now. And I'm really liking the future of where we're headed up there in the Cup Series. And I'm hoping some of that kind of same stuff is getting down to the Xfinity Series too, and the Truck Series as well. I hope that all kind of rolls through.
Is that trickle-down sort of effect there? I tell you what.
Yeah, exactly. Trickle down.
Right?
Oh, goodness.
Right.
We're not going there. I think one of the things you hit on there early was kind of I'll call it the vibe that's going on, and I'll say that I think that Monster is bringing a lot of that right now. This is with this sponsor, everything they're throwing into it, the promos that you see on TV with the ball, the metal ball cage, and the motorcycles going round and round upside down in that thing, and the Monster Girls and all that. And I feel like they've brought a new vibe to this thing that our previous sponsors really couldn't. And so, cigarettes and cell phones versus let's do Monster. Let's be somebody here. So
I get it. I get it to a point. I'm going to agree with you a little bit. Yeah, there's some edgier tone to it a little bit. I think some of it's a little hokey. I think they're trying to kind of shove a square peg in a round hole a little bit with some of that. Just like, isn't this intense? Well, I already kind of thought it was. That's why I'm tuning in.
Well,
you don't have to shove it in my face that it's intense. I kind of get it, But I think to an extent that's good because I think they have a great repertoire with younger demo, which is something we're really going after hard right now. And so you got that combined with some young stars that are having success. I think that's a good recipe.
Absolutely. Sherman, let's get into some of the questions that we got for... Actually, before we do that, let's pat ourselves on the back a little bit.
Okay. I'd like to do that.
A few weeks ago, after the Atlanta race, we talked to Atlanta Motor Speedway President Ed Clark right here on the show, and we were asking about, what's a process for what happens when Atlanta gets repave. And he said, well, I mean, pretty much the weekend after the race, we're going to be, we got dozers out here, we're going to be tearing it up. Well, we noticed on the podcast that we had not heard anything a week, 2 weeks, or whatever afterwards. I'm not saying we're the first people to come up with this. We're not freaking journalists, and on the beat and on the wire and all that. But I'll say this: it was a genuine thought that I had and you had, without needing the prompting from anyone else. Like, I wonder what's going on over at AMS. And we talked about it on the podcast. Well, I'll start a rumor right here. Are we really doing this repave? Next thing you know, now we hear no repave in 2017. And by the way, the person who broke that news, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on Twitter, that was crazy.
Which is hilarious.
He was accredited as being the Dale Jr. News Network.
DNN. So that's some crazy news, and it sounds like even after that they're saying, and we will reassess the situation after that. It's not even like, okay, we're gonna do one more year, then we'll repave.
Year over year.
Yeah, this is kind of year over year. Tommy, what do you think's up?
Here's what I know. I know anytime Dale Jr. says something, everybody ought to listen.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And as soon as that Atlanta race was over, Dale Jr. was one of the main guys saying, yeah, I don't think they should do it. NASCAR ought to wait. Okay, literally every other driver can complain. But when Dale Jr. complains, generally things at least get evaluated.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you got Atlanta Motor Speedway, you got Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, who owns that track, and they're going, okay, wait a minute here. All the public perception is that we shouldn't do this, and it's going to save us a ton of money.
Yeah.
So why not just not do it?
Right.
I don't know. I guess I don't really see the negative there. Now, from a personal standpoint, I'm kind of pissed. I guess I'm the only driver in the entire earth that wanted that sucker to get paved, because we have stunk there the last 2 years. We have completely missed. And I have been all over the place around that place for 2 years now. So I wanted it to get some grip in it. But no, I think it's cool. I mean, that's a track that means a whole lot to me. And the idea that we're still racing on the same surface for this long, it's kind of a cool thing. And I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So, Sherwin, let's get into those questions now, this time, after we've pat ourselves back a little bit.
Why not?
We got some questions for Tommy, and I'll just go straight into our the PETM Posse questions here. NASCAR Nostradamus at NASCARDAMUS.
Nascradamus.
Or maybe it's NASCRADAMUS.
Yes, Nascradamus.
Nascradamus.
Did an interview with him, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
I think I retweeted that. I did an interview with him. He did an article about me.
Yeah,
some of the stuff we're doing this year.
I saw that, yeah.
So big shout to him. Thank you for that. Appreciated it. Good talking to you.
Yeah, and that's TSJ.com, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, apparently he had one more question for you before y'all got done. What would it take for Tommy to be angry enough to take a swing at somebody after the race? I like that question.
Let's just roll it back to Iowa last year.
Okay.
It would have taken a guy being about 2 years older where I didn't go to jail. Is about all it would have taken. So,
okay.
That was a pretty bad deal there. Obviously, we got torn up at Iowa pretty hard. Where a guy just overdrove into the corner about 7 car lengths deeper than he should have, and absolutely destroyed our truck. So that was about and we were running like 23rd or some 22nd. I mean, it's not even like we were really battling that high up in the standings. So that was about the maddest I've ever been. And if he had been in front of me at that point, that's the only time in my entire life that I was getting out of the car ready to swing on somebody. So the incident that we had with Suarez at Chicagoland, I've kind of joked about that a little bit, but honestly, that one we were racing. I think we were 13th. So it was a really great day for us.
Yeah.
They're battling for position there with, I think, right around 20 laps to go. So, it was a great day for us. But I also knew that Suarez was getting frustrated, and we were racing really hard. And so when he got into us, I wasn't as mad at him as I was with myself, because I was like, well, did I really need a battle for 13th right there, or could I let him go and still have a good day? Which is probably not a great thought as a race car driver, because you're supposed to get in there and get what you can get. And that's kind of the decision I made with it. But at the same time, with the small team and the obstacles that we kind of have to fight, which is taking care of our equipment, having to use it the next week, that probably wasn't the smartest thing for me to do with a guy that really didn't care if he wrecked his truck or not. He was in a truck race. That wasn't even his main thing. He was running for Xfinity Championship. So probably just could have picked my spot a little better. So I wasn't mad about that one, even though we got wrecked. But I was really mad at the first one at Iowa. And so, that, what would it have taken? If I feel like somebody has done something really, really dumb, that was unnecessary. And I think that's the main thing. It was just completely unnecessary to do.
Yeah.
Like when you're battling for 23rd with 20 laps to go in a race, really, do you need to be battling that hard? Probably not.
Yeah.
So that frustrated me a lot. You can ask my dad. That's probably the maddest I've ever been. I made a real ass of myself, admittedly. I really did. So just smashing up water bottles and yelling and being an idiot. So not my proudest moment, but that's it. It would have just taken somebody being in front of me. When something like that happens, for me to swing on somebody. So that's really the only time I can really remember it in my life. I'm usually pretty chill.
Yeah. We suspected that. I think you've sort of, what's the right word? Like that's the way you behave. At least when you're in this space, and somebody trying to outbreak somebody for 22nd,
right?
Deep in the field on a short track. It seems like that's just dumb.
What are we doing?
That's
here?
dumb. What are we doing here?
So we got a
It's probably wasn't the smartest move of all time, but that's all right. I made some pretty dumb moves too. So I was young once. I was driving a truck when I was 16, but whatever.
Our next question.
That's a debate for another day.
Sure. Well, I'll write that one down. 16. What happened? All right. Jeffrey Whitler, one of our aluminum sponsors, as we started calling him. And joined us at the race in Atlanta. Had a blast. At Southern_Witt, WITT. He's asking kind of two-part question here. I like this one. Besides getting to the hauler and besides getting the hauler and the team to the track, what's some of your biggest logistics obstacles? And kind of second part of that, does NASCAR work with any local hotels to assure that y'all have lodging, or is it just straight up kind of up to you to find where you're going to stay? What's that look like?
Yeah, it's completely up to you. NASCAR doesn't do any of that. So, which is kind of unfortunate because I think NASCAR could coordinate that really well. I just think they're in a position to really do something cool with that. I'd like to see them do that for all the teams, not just small teams, but for big teams too. I mean, if we did a group buy on hotels, it would be a lot better for everybody. I mean, you would think, right? But whatever. No, they don't do anything. It's kind of on your own. So we're hopping around on travel sites and everything that we can do to do that. And biggest obstacle, like logistically, I'll tell you that the toughest swing is when we go out west for us to plan for, because for more funded teams, they can bring a backup car or multiple cars or whatever, and it's not that big of a deal. I even saw with maybe it was Blake Cook's team or something, where they literally drove the hauler completely back after the Phoenix race, swapped it out for something else, and then drove it all the way back to Vegas.
Oh, my goodness.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Somebody did that. Or they'll bring two complete rigs. I saw it with Turner Motorsports when they went out there in the Xfinity deal, because we're out there for 3 weeks. They brought one rig, the main rig, and then they brought another rig that was empty. It was almost just like a car trailer, like a show car trailer, where it had the upper and bottom deck completely hollowed out. And so then they brought 4 more cars in this other hauler that they brought for their other 2 teams. You see what I'm talking about, where they were going to swap out the primary and backup car there for the other primary and backup car for the next race. So that's a big deal. And also keeping your guys out there. Where now, if we do a three-week swing on the West Coast, we're not going to fly them back and forth as a small team. We're just going to stay out here. So now we got to try to find cheap lodging for a few weeks, and it's something that's not just crappy for the guys, because they got to be there. They're going to basically live there for nearly a month. So just trying to orchestrate all that on this West Coast swing to the Xfinity teams that are small, and truck teams when we go out to Vegas and Phoenix or later in the year, or Texas and Phoenix or whatever it is, that's kind of a big swing for us. And so trying to plan that out, how you're going to swap trucks out and all that, that's a little bit of a challenge.
Yep. That's very.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Every time we get these kind of behind the scenes sort of questions and answers. I think me and Sherwin are just both staring at each other and at our screens like, whoa, this is awesome. So hearing all that stuff is really, I mean, it's really neat to hear what goes on there. Got another question, Mick Rose at GoDucks42_Mick. Interesting question here. Should car owners let drivers race in other forms of racing? I know where Tommy's going to go with this one.
No, not at all. If I'm paying you, I'm sorry, you're not running a sprint car. And Chip Ganassi does an article today that said Chip Ganassi is nervous when Kyle Larson races sprint cars. Well, yeah. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. How much are they paying him? How much is Target paying Ganassi for Chip? Or how much? Even Ineos or that sponsor the Xfinity Series. How much are they paying to have Kyle Larson as their driver? So what happens when Kyle Larson gets hurt running a sprint car in a race that means absolutely nothing to his career at all? Mm-hmm. He's just doing it completely for fun. I mean, how is that any different? I'm sorry, but for these guys that have made it from sprint cars, I get you love sprint cars. I get it. It's also about the most dangerous form of racing in America right now. That's where everybody is getting hurt and killed, is sprint cars and dirt racing. That's it. I mean, I don't know anywhere else that they're getting hurt with any amount of frequency as much as that outside of motorcycle racing. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, he's doing the most dangerous thing he could possibly be doing outside of like jumping out of an airplane or, skiing or something like that where it's just like high injury frequency. And even though he's really, really good at it, like, again, what if Dale Jr.'s, what if his hobby was skydiving? But he was really good at it. Let's say he was like an instructor. He was like a skydiving instructor. So he's really well trained, but still, if something goes wrong, he's going to get really badly hurt or potentially killed. Now, you're the one paying his salary. Wouldn't you be like, hey, man, while you work for me, you got to get up skydiving? Probably so. And so why does Kyle Larson get to keep running a sprint car? Well, I don't know. And I'm not trying to be the guy that's whatever, that, it's the wet blanket on everything. I really don't want to do that in that case, because Kyle Larson's an awesome driver, and I know he loves running sprint cars. But while he's in the Cup Series, and while he's at a professional level running for a team that's paying him billions of dollars, no, I don't think that's a really smart idea. And if I was a team owner, there's no way I would allow it at all.
Yep. Sherman?
Yeah, I think we have some first-hand experience as fans in that, when Casey went to Hendrick, it was like basically his Sprint Cup schedule was canceled.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. Obviously, based on all of the data that we've received over the past 3 or 4 years, I think Tommy's right. Sprint Cup or sprint car racing is obviously quite dangerous. We had another driver die on Saturday night at a racetrack in Florida racing on asphalt in a wing sprint car.
Tim Steele, who's one of the greatest of all, maybe the greatest of all time.
David Steele. So cheers to him and his family. Obviously.
So we know.
So it seems super dangerous. I want to try to compare it to what it is that maybe we do as a profession to try to get it on the same plane. I think it would be an awful lot like not necessarily working for a competitor as a hobby, but like something similar to that.
Or just doing hard drugs or something,
Or
well, should your employer allow you to do cocaine after you go to work? Well, probably not.
It could lead to a problem.
That could be problematic, if he's out there shooting heroin.
The thing that's taboo about it is that they say, well, that's the reason that I'm here is because I was really good at sprint cars. Well, yeah, I get that, but you're here now.
Yeah.
You're here now. That's like a guy saying, well, the reason that I made it to the big leagues is because I was really good in single-A baseball. And, I hit a bunch of home runs there, and so that's why you guys like me. So I'm just going to go back and play single-A baseball for fun.
Yeah.
Well, dude, what happens when you tear your hammy playing single-A?
Yeah. Or even semi-pro football.
Career? Well, yeah. Of course it would. So no, that's why you hear team owners in the NBA and they go, "Hey, aren't you excited that LeBron got picked for the USA basketball team?" Hell no, I'm not. I'm not at all. I don't want him to go over there and play at all.
Yeah. Want him to kind of be in a
Because
cubby
I'm
hole.
the Cavaliers, and I'm paying him $30 million a year to play for the Cavs.
Yeah.
So what happens if he gets hurt over there, or tired, or whatever? I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
Any number of things can happen that are not beneficial to me. So that's what I'm saying. From an ownership standpoint, without a doubt, that's a hard no for me. Now, from the driver standpoint, whatever. If you want to get yourself into that, go ahead. But if I was fortunate enough to get that type of contract with a major team, I'm sorry, that's all I would ever be doing. And I think Jimmy Johnson has taken the same approach, and so did Jeff Gordon, and so did a lot of those guys. They took that same approach, and I think it's probably worked out pretty good for them.
Well, we got one more fan question, and then let's gas it up afterwards. Stacy Coleman at ILUV Junior 88. I wonder who her favorite driver is there.
Hard to tell, really.
Yeah. This is a fun one, Tommy. Is it bad to brush your teeth using beer as your sort of washout?
I don't think that's what she meant. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I should have coached you through this question
Okay,
because I
you should have.
interacted with her quite a bit. I think the question she's asking is, at the time of the morning that you would head down to the wash house to freshen up and brush your teeth, is it acceptable to bring a beer with you?
Well, we're talking about, and she said at Dega, so I would say.
Okay. So
I would say.
we're not like, this is not, okay, well, that's a little different. Yeah, well, it depends. Am I on vacation right now? If you're just doing this in your normal routine, this is not a good thing. You know, if you're like on vacation on the beach, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Top of the
Panama
list,
City,
yeah.
Talladega,
You know,
right?
Totally fine. Yeah, if you're in the Talladega infield, well, yeah, why aren't you? Yeah, I mean, you're awake, aren't you? So then, yeah.
Well,
I mean, wuss if you don't.
It's not acceptable. It's required.
I think this is the
right. Well, that's an understood thing that I would just be assuming that you already were doing that.
That's like the mean of the bell curve.
But no, when you're just like, oh man, I got to be at work in an hour. Time to crack an old brewski. No, that's probably not a good thing. You probably need to talk to somebody about that.
I don't think there's been a
that's
time
appropriate.
I don't think there's been a time of day when I've been at the racetrack with a beer that I've been looked at sideways. You know?
Well, or never felt guilty about it.
Oh no,
I mean,
absolutely
we've been
not.
at the Atlanta Motor Speedway tweet up at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, with a
loaded up beer belt, and every time in one of these, I think at some point, and
yeah,
it's like I don't care.
You're a trendsetter at that point.
Oh, exactly.
Well, no,
next year
you're the interesting person at the tweet up when you do that.
That's right. Well, let's
You're actually getting more respect for being that.
Exactly. That's where we're at. Well, let's start gassing it up here. Oh, there's our car there. Gas it up. Oh goodness, we're going to Martinsville, the old paperclip.
Yeah,
smallest
race on the circuit. So, Tommy, tell us what to expect at Martinsville and what you like, what you don't like, or what's going on.
There's a lot of strategy involved in Martinsville, especially at the top level. It's really pretty cool seeing how the race plays out, and that's a long race. I mean, 500 laps at Martinsville is a long race, and so how do you attack it? How do you get track position? It's so valuable there, and finding it, because the split from the guy that's running 8th to the guy that's running 24th, probably not that big of a split. So it's all about how can we get track position, how can we manipulate this to our advantage. All those guys are, a lot of us come from short track backgrounds, so going to Martinsville is exciting. And I think everybody looks forward to it, especially smaller teams like ours. We look forward to it as a chance, like, hey, maybe I can get a pretty good run here. I can go get a top 15 run at a place like this if we really get the truck dialed in. So it's exciting for us, but definitely strategy, big time. It really got a lot to do with the crew chiefs and how they manage the race. Yeah, your speed obviously has a lot to do. Look, the faster you are, the more options you have. That's what I figured out.
Okay.
In all racing. The faster we are, the more opportunities we have. But you can manage that race a lot like a speedway race. You hear guys talk about that. Short pitting and doing things to maybe pick up track position. And looking for that at Bristol and Martinsville and Richmond, places where track position comes at a real premium. You got to look for stuff like that, especially the way the segments are and everything now. Just take a look at the strategy element of it a little bit. I know that's kind of a subplot there, but that's something I like to look at.
Oh, I love that too. That's one of my most favorite things to talk about when we go to places like Atlanta and California with abrasive surfaces. You know they're going to short pit. At Martinsville, they said they're bringing a different left side tire. I don't know if it's harder or softer. I heard that earlier this week. I say earlier this week, it's freaking Tuesday. But somebody on a podcast that is well respected said something about bringing a different left side tire, and whether or not that was going to impact, exactly what Tommy just said is, are we going to see short pitting? Because at Martinsville, at a half-mile track, we can run. On fuel, we can run 150 laps. Yeah. We can run almost 160. And so, which is kind of silly, I say, let's make that fuel cell a little bit smaller. But, it's going to be fun to watch it happen because, you know what, there's going to be some strategy. The cars are different this year. They've said over the years, we watched over the years, and when we got into this sport where aero didn't matter at Bristol and aero didn't matter at Martinsville, well, now everything matters. There's just so much engineering and science involved in building these cars. It all matters. So bringing a smaller spoiler and bringing a shorter splitter is going to matter at Martinsville, and I'm anxious to see what it's going to be because I love Martinsville anyway.
A little. Look, I'll meet you a little bit there. It's going to matter a little. I think you talk about the engineering aspect of this. I don't see it from an aero standpoint as much, but engineering, yeah. Some of the rules they've done there, some of the minor stuff. And I'm not going to dive off too far into that, but just a lot of the stuff they're doing with ride heights and different spring packages and combinations there, yeah, it's gotten really intense, even at a track like Martinsville. The lighter you can make the chassis, the more weight you can adjust around in those cars, the better. And that becomes a real premium at short tracks where you're up and down, you're up in the throttle and back down on the brakes a lot. That weight and having it exactly where you want it is really, really critical. Everybody immediately goes to a mile and a half for that stuff, but that has become a big deal in short track cars, making them as light as you can and being able to use that weight to your advantage.
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sherwin, I think it's time for us to do some picks for that Martinsville race coming up. And for picks, we got our picks guy here. We do have
a PETM picks mascot.
Yeah, here he is. Well, that was a little low, but that's our Start Your Engines guy. Yeah, that was we can do better than that. We'll do better right now. How about that? We're all for second chances.
Do it
here.
Again?
Yeah.
Reboot it.
That was a little better.
Yeah, that was better.
That got me psyched up for it.
Hey, you know what? When they have a bad one at the track, we don't get to refire.
Yeah.
But on the podcast, we certainly can.
That's right. Yep. And we're not going to edit that out or nothing. We just deal with it.
We don't care.
Yeah. So, Tommy, you want to take first pick here? Do you cool picking some drivers for the race?
How many do I get?
As many as you want. You're the guest here, man.
Oh no, I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm a one shot guy.
All right.
If I had to pick one person to win Martinsville, man, it's hard not to go with a 48, isn't it? It's hard not to go with Jimmy Johnson.
That's
I'm
hard.
going Jimmy Johnson.
He's
all right.
The only one with more wins is the king.
And so I think, Sherwin, you wrote down that I got to go first this week. I think.
So do we want to pick the trucks at all, or that may be a conflict of interest for Tommy?
No, it's not. I'm picking Tommy. So,
all right.
That's going to be tough since I'm not going to be in one.
I'm still picking Tommy.
I'm not saying that I can't.
I'm picking you to win the PR.
That's right.
Substitute driver here. Yeah, I can hop in.
How about this? Who's strong in the trucks at Martinsville? Who do you have your eye on?
All right, sneaky good here. Sneaky good. Ben Rhodes is sneaky
Ben
good.
Rhodes.
Okay,
that's
cool.
So cool. Yeah, I love it.
Got that dialed in pretty good over there with ThorSport. He was fast there in spring last year.
Uh-huh.
He could be a pretty good pick. I know he hasn't got a win yet, but Ben Rhodes, I think he's going to be pretty tough there. And then John Hunter. John Hunter's real good there at Martinsville. I think he could be another solid pick.
Well, we had the pleasure of meeting John Hunter at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He was there, and his daddy was sitting next
Front
to
row
him.
Joe right next to him.
You want to talk about just stumbling over words. I mean, here I am, 92 episodes into a podcast, and we've talked to plenty of people and all that, and I get to him, I'm like, hi.
Yeah. Hey. Thanks for the hero card.
Right.
And they're good people. They're good dudes.
They're awesome.
And they're racers. Which I have just a ton of respect for. You talk about two of the smartest people in the room. I mean, John Hunter is basically his own engineer on that truck. I mean, he does just an unbelievable job. And Joe Nemechek, they were down there in Daytona. He was out of the truck in his race suit, basically checking the scales and checking splitter clearance and everything completely on his own. So I mean, you get a couple of just racers and just a lot of love, a lot of respect for those guys.
Well, I have even more respect for him now than knowing that, because I had respect for him before. I know some people lost some respect for him.
Yeah.
With the
I walk in the garage area. This is me, so this is me being a prima donna. I walk in the garage area about an hour before practice starts. I'm walking in there with my dad. He and I just went to Cracker Barrel. John Hunter's standing in there. He's doing his own. Write down all the tire codes from all the sets of tires that he got that weekend, so we can go and check the date codes on them and find out a little bit more about what the spring rate is in each tire.
That's so cool.
I mean, so you're talking about a guy. I mean, that's whatever. I mean, kid's 19 or 20 years old. He's got a few wins. I mean, when you see something like that, as me as a driver, I go, okay, well, if I'm not going to be good at that, I better get better at something else, because that's
yeah.
I get right there. It kind of tells you just the level we're playing at. Every once in a while, you get kind of one of those moments where it's kind of a subtle thing, but you notice. And I noticed that with John Hunter, and whatever. I already respected the kid a lot. I think he's just a great talent. But when I saw that, I went, okay, well, I got to step my game up and learn more. I got to really dive into this more.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Well, Sherwin, I think by virtue of just flat luck, it's not like either one of our picks last week did superb or anything, so I think I have to go first. But
you're gonna pick trucks and Cup to start with?
I'm just gonna pick Cup.
Okay.
Normally, I see it a race.
If I pick trucks, will you come back and pick trucks?
I don't even know who's good or who.
Right.
I'll pick Matt Crafton.
Right.
Booyah! There we go.
Good. There you go. You're good.
I like the guy.
Sauter won last year. Sauter won it. He's a pretty good pick.
Jimmy,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or Johnny,
He won the fall race at Martinsville. I mean, Chase Elliott's running this thing. He sat on the pole last year.
Mm-hmm.
True story.
At Martinsville. Kaz Gralla qualified in like the top 5.
That's a good
last
point.
Year at Martinsville, I believe, somewhere.
Daytona winner.
He's a really good kid, too. Super nice kid. But I don't know that he's going to win the race. I mean, that's a lot of tough people to kind of go trudging through. So, Chase Elliott's pretty tough to bet against. When you find out he's in the field, that's pretty tough dude to beat.
Yeah. And so for Cup, Sherwin, this is a track where I so many times go to the veterans, and Tommy's already picked Jimmy, and 2 years retired, I would pick Jeff Gordon to win this.
Oh,
race.
Sure.
And he's gonna Tommy's kind of burned my pick here, so I'm just gonna stick with a 24 though, and go straight with Chase on this one. Even though not veteran necessarily, but I love what he's got going on here. I like the momentum. He kind of backed off the momentum. I think it's time once again. So what can I say?
I like it.
Okay, can I give you inside information here?
Please.
Chase Elliott was telling a story to a guy. I forget, it was another driver. I kind of just walked up in on this during the drivers' meeting thing.
Oh, I love this.
Where he was talking to, I don't forget who it was. Maybe it was Sauter. And I was just standing there. I was talking to somebody else, so I just kind of overheard it. And he was laughing with Sauter. He said, I think it was Kyle Larson, who was also running the race back then. And it was somebody like that. And he said, I was really surprised when I won the pole. I always qualify like crap here. He didn't really say like crap. He's a little more direct. And so when I heard that, I kind of laughed, and I just went, well, man, you would think Chase would be really good at qualifying in short tracks, but that's kind of funny. And so I think it's a good pick. I do. I think Chase is an easy pick. He's going to win a race this year. But Keep that in mind. If he doesn't qualify that well, that's not like that's a weird thing.
Yep.
He said, admittedly, out of his own mouth, I usually qualify like crap here. So there you go.
So coming up through the field, Chase Elliott. Sherwin, who you got?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to stick with the Virginia native for the trucks. And I'm going to go with Timothy Peters.
Okay.
Red Horse Racing Team. But for Cup, go ahead, Tom. You got a comment there?
No. Good dude. He's won Martinsville before, and that's a good pick.
Yeah, I like Timothy a lot. So for Cup,
I did too. I was rooting for him real hard to win the championship last year. I was a little bummed.
Oh, cool.
I was too.
Didn't
He
pull it
was my guy.
Mm-hmm.
He really was. For Cup, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with a theme that we're seeing.
Okay.
A theme where a guy that's been really, really good at Martinsville but's never won there, and right now their team is peaking as well as it could be.
Okay.
So I'm going with the number 1 car, the Jamie McMurray.
Oh, straight up. This is like full circle to the very beginning of this episode with Tommy talking about Ganassi Racing.
That's right.
And blowing up right now. I love it. Great pick. Love it. Tommy, what do you think?
Sneaky good pick here.
Sneaky.
I feel like I influenced this a little bit.
I would love to give you that credit, Tommy, but to be honest with you, I actually thought about this about 2:30 this afternoon, and I said, I'm picking Jamie.
Oh, that's I
thought about it early.
I love it. So we've got...
Hey, and I got one wild card pick for you here.
Okay.
Wild cards are fun.
Stuart Haas has been real good. You know, Kurt Busch won a race in that Haas 41 car at Martinsville. So somebody keep in mind, and I'm not going to pick Kurt, even though he's an easy pick there. He's really good there. Maybe think about picking Clint Boyer. That's a guy that hadn't won in a long time. He's won on a road course. Good on the brakes.
He's won at Richmond.
Good car. Won at Richmond. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a wild card.
Yeah, he's got some mo from last week.
Pretty long odds on that one, and he could maybe jump up there.
Yeah, he was strong last week.
He's
been strong. Yeah,
I like it.
I like that pick. Absolutely. Or that wild card, we'll call it. So some random sports here. So a few different sports. Matter of fact, I've got, 2 different sports, but 3 different sort of leagues here to talk about. Sherwin, you wrote this down. The Atlanta Falcons will play the Las Vegas Raiders in 2023. We might have to meet Tommy Joe up for that one. Tommy, what do you think about that?
Tell you what.
That's pretty good. I don't know who I'm going to be rooting for in that deal. I mean, if I'm still out here in Vegas, I might have to be at least a temporary Raiders fan. I know I'm a Falcons guy, but you got to root for the home team, right? But
hey, that's no worries.
That was big news out here in Vegas, man. That was a huge, huge deal. You got a lot of people excited about that.
That's great. Yeah. So Vegas trip, Sherwin?
Well, we'll go to Vegas, and we'll have to figure out whether we actually go to the game or we watch it in like Bellagio or
like we did that time.
the Mirage or something. But we definitely gonna need like rides around the track that you teach at.
Oh yeah.
We can arrange that.
Well, hello. I don't think you might not trust me in a car like that.
We might be the first one that would ride around and no matter what craziness happened, just go woo.
Yeah, as long as I'm driving here, fellas. As long as I'm still the one behind the wheel, we'll
perfect.
Be all right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We got the PETM Posse March Madness group. Just quick update on that. I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast yet.
Nope.
But I was leading there for a little while with 0 points possible remaining, so I was just taking screenshots of me like, hey, look at me, I'm sitting up top. Woo! But right now our friend Colby McClam in the lead, but Carlton is in 6th place with like a boatload of points possible remaining. So it's going to be a tight race to the end of that one. And speaking of basketball, Sherwin, Georgia Tech NIT tournament. I know everybody, we're going to talk about a second-rate tournament, blah, blah, blah. But, hey, you're wearing the hat right now, Georgia Tech hat, and we just clobbered a team in the Final Four, the Roadrunners.
The California State University Bakersfield Roadrunners. We beat them by about 15 points.
Yeah. So Georgia Tech NIT going to the finals, baby.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's
so
fun.
having a blast with that.
Yeah, and making me mad because they knocked out Ole Miss.
I forgot about that.
You just made an enemy. Right
Oh, sorry, Tom. I totally forgot about that. I would have.
So
no, we still would have talked about it because we love Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the last time on the podcast, Mr. Tommy Jeremiah.
Yeah, you know what I said about that 100th episode. Yeah, let's take that off.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to rethink that.
About
that.
Not. Sherwin, you've got a shout out before we get this thing closed out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got to do something real heartwhelming, powerful stuff. I hope I can keep it together. But friend of the show, personal friend of mine, contributor to the PETM Posse
Aluminum
Patreon, aluminum sponsor, Eric Kepner. His mother passed away last week on Friday morning after a long battle with cancer. And, yeah, hats off. And so I wrote a lot more of this, and I'm trying to say it without losing my cool. But I've been listening to a new country artist, or a new-to-me country artist named Cody Jinks. And he's got a song that really hits home called Mama Song. And it's about how, starting off when you're 20-something, trying to figure out what you're going to do, and you need help from Mama. And Mama only thing Mama cares about is that you're okay. And so I was listening to that song on Sunday night, and I had a real touching moment, and I reached out to my mom because I realized that he's not ever going to get to have the "Yeah, Mama, I'm all right, I'm okay" conversation with his mom again. So a lot of respect to him, and best wishes to his family going forward, and all that stuff. So
Cheers,
raise
brother.
your glass and
Raise
have
the
a drink. Good dude, all the way around.
So, well, that brings us, Mr. Tommy, you know how we close this thing out. Always with Strange with Stang. Miss Ashley J. Stang, she's going to send us a doggone question here. She's asking, and I wish I could relay the text here because it's kind of funny.
It is funny.
The Twitter language, when you say, instead of dummy, you say dummy.
Dummy.
Have either of you dummy rednecks ever gone Bigfoot hunting? And if not, can we please put that on our list of things to do together? Tommy, you ever been Bigfoot hunting?
I've never been Bigfoot hunting. I've not dove into that.
Well, I'll speak
for something you have desire to do.
I can watch you guys go Bigfoot hunt.
Well,
I can walk around in the back because basically all this is just walking around, probably drinking with guns.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
I was fixing to say, do I get to walk around in the woods with a beer and a gun? Yeah, I'm in. So
right,
and
that just sounds like a Friday night for you guys.
Yeah. Enough beers.
There've been some Friday nights like that.
Enough beers, and I might see Bigfoot and God and everybody
else. Spaghetti monster, who knows? One of the things I want to point out, because we've been goofing around with this for a couple weeks, but she actually said "dummy nerdnecks." I've been hashtagging nerdneck. And what we're describing that is how we're giving the definition of nerdneck is nerdy, nerdy smart people that also embrace the redneck way of life.
That's right.
Because it's a bigger sliver of people than you realize until you start interacting with folks. We got, Rusty's a programmer. I'm an engineer by trade. Tommy, you're very articulate, and we've had a couple other guys that are the same way. It's it's just fun.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Thank you. No, I kind of like that phrase. If you came up with that, that's
the nerdneck.
Yeah, hashtag nerdneck.
Maybe that needs to be on a T-shirt or something. I'll buy one. How about that? Tommy, why don't you? We always. Every time, want to thank you so much for being on the show. This has been a blast. I can't believe it's been over an hour. I can't believe we've been sitting here talking for over an hour. All these questions and everything, so much fun. Close us out. Tell us where people can find you, what you're up to, and any final thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. One quick thought here before we close it out. Big shout to a guy that's driving for our race team, Brandon Brown, and Colin Fern, who I think is helping him with the marketing and stuff over there, Brandonville Motorsports. They sent out a tweet that said, anybody that helps us get a sponsor, if we get a sponsor on the race car because of Twitter, we're going to put every person who retweets this on the car. We're going to put their name on the car. Okay, I don't think they realized that Dale Jr. was going to retweet this, and now that thing has got close to 4,000 retweets.
I saw it when it was 3,600.
Cool them and us wind up with a sponsor on the 44 here this weekend in Martinsville. We're going to find out a little bit more about that later in the week. But Brandon's a good driver, and we got a good little team here. It'd be really cool to get a sponsor. So if anything you guys or the listeners could do to retweet that or kind of pass that along, that's just kind of a cool thing. I had no idea this was going to blow up. I'm sure Brandon Brown had no idea this thing was going to blow up as big as it has. So kind of a cool thing there, and big props to them, and props to Dale Jr. for trying to help out a small team, try to find the sponsorship for a big race. It's kind of a cool deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely saw that. I retweeted it. I think I was in the 3,300s with the PETM podcast handle. It was north of 3,600 when I got to
it. Okay, if you guys want to follow along this weekend, I'll be probably taking over the Team Martin's Twitter account all weekend. And
sweet.
It's probably tweeting a lot about the race going on. So if you make sure you guys follow that, Team Martin's on Twitter. Go there, follow that right now. That's the Martin's Motorsports Twitter account. And follow me, Tommy Joe Martin's on Twitter, and then I'm on Instagram as well. If you guys want to follow along, I'll be tweeting a lot and posting stuff a lot on Instagram. I might do some live Periscope stuff if I can do that at the racetrack, and
awesome.
try to get in as much content as I can. Most of the time you're running around in a driver's suit. Now I'm just going to be hanging out, so I'll have a little more time to kind of interact with everybody. It'll be cool to see.
Well, cheers,
That's
Tommy.
awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us. We have a blast, as always. We're going to bring this thing up. Y'all know where to find us. Go to patreon.com/PETM. We said it at the top of the show. Join us in the PETM posse. Get your free koozie and everything.
Aluminum sponsor.
Aluminum sponsor as it comes at. So follow us there on Twitter at PETM Podcast. And I'm Tailgate Mayor at Tailgate Mayor.
And I'm pregame engineer at pregame ENG.
We're going to talk to y'all next week.
Thumbs up.